Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the destroyer of the demons, Kamsa and Chanura, the dear darling of the mother Devaki and the Guru of the world. Om, peace, peace, peace. So we are back to reading of our Bhagavat in the book number 3, and this is the third book. Number 1 sub chapter is 3, and this chapter starts again 20. That is 1.3.20 we start. On page 231, we are reading how the creation came, and it was the question of the Saunaka. The story goes that Narayana was in the heaven, and the 4 sages, great sages, whose name was Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanatana, they went to see the Lord. They are always ever free soul, spiritually illumined soul. But these 2 guards, as always happen, they want to see the Lord. Naturally, it is their duty not to disturb the Lord. And they are very ordinary boys, looks naked boys, Brahmogyanis par excellence. Who knows Brahmogyani? And he said, no, you cannot meet the Lord now. No, please, please, please. And then ultimately the sages cursed these 2 doormen, gatemen, guard, to entrance to the darshan of the Lord. And then they cursed and said, okay, they will be born in the world, and you have to go down to the earth. You are in the heavenly abode, you will have to go down there because you have missed. And then hearing this frightful word, they ran to Lord Narayana and said, oh, 4 boys have come and they're saying like this, what to do? And the Lord quickly, Narayana, came back and just with great reverence welcomed them to come and this and that, honored them to sit and this. When this was done, then the 2 guards understood their fault, mistake, and they thought that, oh my God, what we did. So telling the Lord, please, please forgive us, because we didn't understand that they are so great rishis and they wanted to see, and you are so dear to you. But anyhow, please forgive. I cannot do that. You go to them for their forgiveness. And the rishis were cooled down after some time. But he said, we cannot do anything. What has come out of the mouth, it will happen. So you have extra boon, ask anything. Well, give me extra boon. Okay, if I am to go to be born as a human or in the lower plane. So it will be like that I will make it that I don't forget the Lord for any split second. So long I don't want to have a separation from God for a long time. So the Lord was granted that. And then they went to the earthly plane and lower planes of Patal, lower planes of existence. And then they became how to remember God all the time. They took it in the sense of thinking as God as enemy. If you love someone, you may remember, you may forget. No? But if your head is declared by somebody and you know that someone is always hanging around you to kill you, naturally you think of him more. So it is called Shatru Bhave Sadham, a spiritual practice, thinking God as my enemy. So God is my enemy. God may kill me. He is just born. How can I kill him? Day and night thinking of God as enemy. That is the sadhana. And these 2, Hiranyaksha, they are born as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They are 2 names. His red, Hiranya is gold. His eyes are like gold. and Hiranyakashipu. So two of them were born in this way, and now they become a terror. All drove away all the gods and goddesses from their heavenly abode, and ran them in another plane, and then dominated and went into the earth and started disturbing the air. So this was the way going on. Then the first incarnation of God came. It's called the boar, boar God. So that God, he born and he has to fight with this Hiranyakshi, whose red eyes like gold. So anyhow, so that fight went, and then the creation, then the whole world went into destruction, and then creation started again. So this question then was asked by Saunaka. Saunaka is responding, putting the question to Suta, the narrator. That question now, creation as expression of Brahma's mood, how the creation has come, how the creation is withdrawn, that part now is being spoken here. This is the 1.3.20 verse, and verse number 1 now. So, question on further propagation of the creatures. Saunaka said, O Sutta, what were the means adopted by Manu to bring out into manifestation all these jivas who had become latent in the Ishvara during Mahapralaya? The great dissolution happened and whole creation is withdrawn. This idea is that everything goes to the seed form. So that's why sometimes it is allegorically said that Noah's ark collecting all the seeds. So that idea is here that all the jivas, you all of us, suppose if total dissolution happens now, will be all consumed in the body of Ishvara, where all of us will remain in a latent form, as we remain in our sleep time. In our deep sleep time, how do we remain? We are not conscious of the body. Ghost body goes or dream body goes. We remain in a very subtle level. So in that form, the whole creation has been withdrawn in the body of the Lord. Vidura was a devotee of great attainment and had deep personal devotion to Sri Krishna as a friend. He was so devoted to Krishna that he abandoned his brother Dhritarashtra and his sons because they behaved in a manner insulting to Krishna. So Vidura was Dhritarashtra's brother, but he left connection with them, abandoned his brother because Krishna, Dhritarashtra is criticizing Krishna. So, insulting Krishna, behaving wrongly with Krishna. A son of Vyasa and not much inferior to his father in greatness, he had surrendered himself wholeheartedly to the Supreme Being and was ever devoted to the service of the Lord's devotees and to pilgrimages to holy places. We would like to know what further question this great devotee put to the sage Maitreya residing in Kushoprata. O Sutta, just as the all purifying Ganga proceeds from the feet of the Lord, so also at the meeting between these two great devotees, there must have been a continued flow of sin destroying and purifying conversation about the Lord. Tell us what they talked about, those acts and excellences of the Lord, which always form the subject of talk and sung among devotees. May you fare well with who with a bit of devotion could ever feel satiated with hearing about the Lord's activities and excellences. So here, Saunaka is asking, oh Sutta were the narrators. In early days, they memorize everything. There is no book. So they used to just, in big gathering, they used to narrate all the stories of Mahabharata, Bhagavata, this, that. So they remember everything. They can, when back to back everything they can, and their memory is very strong. So this sutta is he's asking, oh sutta, talk about this Lord Krishna and his excellences. 7th verse. Being thus questioned by the rishis in the of Naimisharanya, the sutta Ugra Sarvasravasa said to them, with his mind concentrated on the God, the Lord of the world, as follows. Sutta said, hearing how by assuming his mysterious power of Maya, the Lord took the form of boar, lifted earth up from Rashatal, lower plane, and as if in sport destroyed Hiranyaksha, killed the Hiranyaksha with the utmost ease. Vidura was ecstatic with devotion and said, what did Brahma, the father of all Prajapatis, do in his creative role after he had created the Prajapatis? Tell about us about those esoteric subjects of which you have full knowledge. How did Marichi and Brahma Rishis and Manus like Swayambhuva proceeds to create at the bidding of Brahma? That means how this Narayana, the Lord, created Brahma to Brahma will create. He is just as it happens for a big personality, they wish something, and there are many people to execute that. So here also, say Brahma Narayana is the source of everything consumed in Narayana. And Narayana created first Brahma and told Brahma to go on creation. So his wish has been fulfilled by Brahma. And then Brahma created Marichi, Rishi, other Brahma Rishis, etc., to extend that process of creation. In the creative work, did they function alone? That means this Swayambhu, Babu, or Morichi, how they interact with them. In the creative work, did they function alone or in cooperation with their wives? That means Shakti. They took their Shakti. Or did all the offsprings of Brahma jointly create? This is all queer questions, and responses will be that. So I'm your to understand all this, you need to know much more details in the Puranic stories. But anyhow, so now Maitreya then responded, said, by virtue of the most mysterious potency of the past karmas of jivas lying latent, by the will of the Supreme Being who is the master of Prakriti, and by the power of Winkle's time, great time, which is root matter, Prakriti, become agitated. And from that emerged Mahat Tattva. The creation, how it comes. In every scripture we find different description how the world is created. So here is a description that with a mysterious potency, what we call Maya, the past karmas, you have past karma, I have past karma, all our have past karmas. The past karmas of the jivas was latent by the will of the Supreme Being, who is the master of Prakriti. He is the Lord, Narayana is the Lord of the Prakriti. And by the winkles, that is time, great time, Mahakala, that was potent. In that embedded all these subtle impressions of individual souls, all merged. So with that power, and the root is the root matter, means Prakriti, become agitated. The time and the Prakriti, they got agitated, and from that emerged Mahat Tattva. Sankhya philosophy says first creation is Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva is divides into, and from emerged Mahat Tattva, which evolved into Ahankara. From Mahat Tattva to Ahankara. How Mahat Tattva came? There is a disturbance there. How? In that infinite Purusha, that's a Vedanta, Sankhya philosophy, Purusha plus Prakriti. So Purusha and Prakriti consumed all the potential things in it, embedded into it. And Prakriti gradually manifests inside, in touch with the Purusha. So now here, the same philosophy probably they're trying to bring out. Narayana is the Purusha consciousness. And this Prakriti, Mahabhut, that mm, fundamental prakriti includes all the subtleties of the all elements, the all the creation. When destruction happens, all is consumed into prakriti, back to prakriti, and then prakriti remains dormant. And when the consciousness again comes by the will of God, that is the called Narayana, His will, then again the prakriti starts functioning and the creation starts. What came first? This is ahankaro, ego, I sense. So he said that the master of Prakriti, and by the power of the winkle's time, the great time, the root matter, Prakriti, became agitated, and from that emerged the Mahat Tattva, which revolved into Ahankara, I, having three aspects. And Ahankara may be three types, dominated by Sattva quality, Rajas, and Tamas. Five types of categories were now in manifestation. I, then subtle elements. Subtle elements means, what are these subtle elements? Five elements. Five elements are Kshiti, Yap, Tej, Marudbam. That earth, air, water, fire, space. So these are in the subtle form. So ahankaro, subtle elements, organs of knowledge. Eyes, ear, this is organs of knowledge. And the organs of action, hand, feet, etc. Five. And the deities, and there is one God. That is the eye. For eye, there is one God. For ear, there is one God. Well, all the sense organs is controlled by some divine entity. So all this together is a different description. That's exactly not in Sankhya. Here it says Mahat Tattva got agitated. Out of that came the I consciousness, Aham Tattva. Then comes the five. He says that, and this Ahankara may be three types: Sattvika type, Rajasika type, Tamasika type. And from that, the aspects of categories were now manifesting as ego sense, I sense, subtle element, five elements, organs of knowledge, etc., organs of action, etc., and the corresponding the powers of the gods. In their discrete condition, they were not able to themselves, by themselves, to come into combination and produce the universe. That means by God's will, this combination happened. As a result, Prakriti, which was sleeping agitated, it gets agitated and manifestation starts. In their discrete condition, they were not able to themselves to come into combination. They have no power. It's only by, that's why it's called Ishwaricha. By the will of Lord it happens. No? So the combination of product, in their discrete condition, they were not able to by themselves to come into combination and produce the universe. Then the power of the Lord enabled them to produce the golden shell. It's an imagination, golden shell, the universe in its seminal condition. And for 1,000 of years, that golden shell lay in the cosmic waters. And that's why you see there is a picture always now, Lord Narayana lying in a snake, a big snake, and the hood, the big hood on the Narayana's head. So these are all Puranic concept about creation. But you are sleeping, that's why no creation. When you wake up, and then creation starts. For thousands of years, the golden shell lay in the cosmic water, insentient and unmoving. It is not moving. It does not have any consciousness, as it were. The all powerful Lord dwelt in it, and it took the shape of Narayana lying in the cosmic waters. Out of the navel of Narayana was generated the world lotus. So that's why you see when the Narayana is lying flat, from the navel there sprouts a stalk, and in the end you find the lotus. No? And on the lotus is Brahma is sitting there. So Narayana was generated by the world lotus, having the luminosity of 1,000 suns and containing in potentiality all the jivas in it. That means this Narayana generated the world lotus, and it is luminous, and in that the seed of everything is contained, as it were. In the midst of that lotus, the Supreme Being Himself appeared, manifested as Brahma. So that means it is all Vedantic principle. Puranas are the Vedantic principle expressed in a language for the masses and created some type of imagery. So as if the Narayana was sleeping, Brahman is sleeping, and then it contained all the Maya Shakti and all this diverse creation which is in him. How? As if in the waters, no creation, nothing, all stopped. And from that, a navel zone came, a lotus, and in lotus contained the whole creation itself. And gradually it is luminous, and it found that in it Brahma came out of Brahma. Is permeated by Narayana, who lays in the cosmic waters. Brahma created the world, making names and forms discrete as in previous creation. Cyclical. This idea of Indian ideal of creation is not one-time creation. It is creation, manifestation, and it consumed, and it goes to the subtle form. When wherever they end, they start from there in a new cycle. So this is like this creation goes on for ages, take it long time, and its development. In that development, there is history. In that development, it comes first. What comes? Amoeba comes. Second comes this comes. The living animal in the water, aquatic animal comes. Uh, Land comes. All these concepts then gradually develop out of that. And it is all thousands and thousands of years issues. That's why in Purana always you'll find 10,000 years, 5,000 years. As if thousands of years are minimum scale of measurement there. Now this Brahma was created, and the luminous out of the lotus, the Brahma came. And now creative mood. Brahma needs some mood to create, no? So the Lord gives the impetus. So this is called the creative moods of Brahma. Out of his own shadow, then Brahma created the 5 forms of ignorance. First, how to bind everyone in all ignorance. So he says, out of his own shadow, Brahma saw his own shadow, negative thinkers. What are they? Brahma created 5 forms of ignorance. Ignorance in 5 diverse ways. What are the 5 diverse ways? Tamisra means anger. Looking upon death as one's end. Everyone is, as it happens for all of us, no? Death is an end. What will happen? I will die. What will happen? But this is ignorance. Out of ignorance, what is the ignorance? Brahma's own shadow. These are all different philosophies we can bring out in Vedanta. It is called what is Vedanta idea? It's called the reflection theory. You see your own sun reflected. Ramakrishna says in 10, 20 pots, and you see 10 suns. So on the Tamisra, looking upon death as one end. Tamisra, the anger. Second, looking upon death as one's end. Andhutavishra. Tamas, ignorance about the oneself, not knowing who am I. Moha, self-identification with the body. And moha, craving for enjoyment. So the first creation is this. Brahma created the five forms. These five forms of ignorance. What are they? First, anger, then thinking the body, death of the body as one's end. Third, ignorance about oneself. Who am I? Not knowing that, forgetting that self. And moha, moha is self-identification with the body. Body is the truth. And moha moha, craving for the enjoyments in the world. Not being pleased with this creation, Brahma said, what did I create all this? Huh? Now he got to think that I should create better things. So what he said, not being pleased with this creation of the form of ignorance, he abandoned the body mood of mind, body with which he performed this creation. So he gave up this body as it were. With the mood, he created these five ignorant and ignorance results. And he took a new body. Jakshas and Rakshasas appropriated that body of the form of night, which is the origin of hunger and thirst. So these are very complicated area to understand. So he says, not being pleased with his own creation of the form of ignorance, he abandoned that body, the body, that's the mood. Body means that mental mood in which he created ignorance, identification with the body, forgetfulness of the real nature of us. All this, he then, the mood was changed. And with which he performed another mood came, he started creation. What they created, Jakshas and Rakshasas appropriated that body of the form of night and which in the origin of hunger and thirst. So he took his another mood came. So Jakshas and Rakshasas were created. These are special type of what you call created being. Jaksha is called the hoarder of the Lord who takes care of the hoarding of wealth. Jaksha. And Rakshasas are all bad elements, disturb the peace of the holy Brahmins, holy priests. And in early days, Rama was going and say, kill many Rakshasas. Ravana was a Rakshasa group, Asura Rakshasa, different categories of animalistic expression. Tormented by hunger and thirst, these offsprings of night approached to consume Brahma himself. Now his creation, that is hunger, and the Jakshas and Rakshasas, they are created by Brahma himself because his mood changed and he created. And we are so hungry and thirsty that these offsprings of the Ratri, called night, approached to consume Brahma himself, saying, don't leave him, eat him up. Then Brahma cried out to them, do not eat me up, save me. O Jakshas and Rakshasas, you are my children. How can you destroy me? They are our own creation. Frankenstein, no? It becomes a blow to the creator itself. Where whatever he created by his body of luster, sattva aspect of his being, they were the devas and they took up his body of day when he had abandoned it and rejoiced. So day and night came out of his own body. That means simply, day and night came, and day is the deities came, and night is the Rakshasas came, bad guys came, and the holy came. Asuras. From his hip, he created the Asuras, who were given to excessive sexuality. Out of the sexual urge, they approached him with the intention of consorting with him. At these, the Asuras, who thus approached him, Brahma, at first laughed, and then, when they are persisted, he became angry with them, and when he found them determined, he got frightened and took to his heels. He approached Srihari, the Lord, who removes the sufferings of his devotees and who assumes different forms for the blessings of such devotees. So, and he said to the Lord, O Lord, protect me. At thy behest, I started this work of creation in different kinds of beings. And now these sinful creatures of mine are then uh, threatening me with sexual molestation. Thou art the one who can remove the suffering of the people in travail, and you are also the one who inflicts on them various kinds of suffering until they take refuge in you. The Lord who knows the hearts of all. So this thing is that Brahma created himself. That is, creation is always problem. So when he came to the creation, good and bad will come. And naturally, its impact will be there. Good will be some good impact, bad will be some bad impact. And that bad impact impacts the Brahma itself, and he is consumed as if by his own creation. So he then went to take refuge. Well, there is a story now. There is a story. Uh, there is a ghost. Uh, the, the man wanted to be very rich, and so he went to a person who knows all these exorcist things. So he went to someone. He said, "Can you give me one ghost who can help me to help me in my creation, and I'm becoming very rich and this and that?" I said, "Yes, I can give, but one condition: the ghost will go to help you. But if you cannot give work, you have to keep him in constant engagement in work." And he thought, "I'm a poor guy. I will have a big house. I want this. I want this. So many desires are there." So I thought, I will be happy. The teacher warned him, "Don't ask for that because it may create trouble. Because you have to give constant, engage in constant work. If you cannot give the work, then you're in danger." And no, 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 I have enough thing to do. Okay, please give me. And the ghost came. Ghost said, "Yes, what you want?" "Well, I want whatever. I will work for you all the time. But if you cannot give me sufficient work, the moment you cannot give work, I will kill you." And that poor guy thought, "What is that? I have so many things to ask for. So build house, big palatial house, swimming pool, this, that, and then I will have." And he tells the ghost, "Ghost, I want one building. There will be so many rooms and this and ghost does it instantly. And then he came back. Next what? Next what? Next what? And he planned all these thoughts. When it is done, then he's thinking, I have got car, I have got home, I have got all the pleasures of the world, I have got money, I have got wealth, I have, but whatever I want, I already got. And what shall I give him?" Instantly he does the work. Then he ran to his guru, said, "Oh, I don't want this ghost. Please take back your ghost." Eh? So it is same like that.
Does this story mean that once your desires are all fulfilled, the little self dies?
Uh, that whatever I am, but
Because all his desires are coming and ghost is fulfilling. And the ghost says that when you cannot tell me any more desire, I will kill you. You will be dead. So all the desires are gone. You are dead. Little self is dead.
no, that's why whatever may be the significance, yes, when all our desires end, there is no end of desire. But instantly you cannot think of anything more. How much human mind can think of having luxuries or things, what a material thing. But even that he is now in fear to save himself. That means also spiritually all these desires are fulfilled, then really you turn towards God, to Guru and God. That may be another meaning. But anyhow, he ran to the Guru, and Guru said, "I told you." You wanted this ghost to have. Mastering the ghost is not good unless you master yourself. No, so that it is like that. Brahma was asked to create, and he created first ignorance, and then he created the good things he wanted to create. But last desire, all these things are coming, and then that consumed him, and that is also going to kill him. Then he said, "Oh Baba, what is this? Oh Narayana, please help me." So This is the way the world works. The Lord who knows the heart of all saw the pitiable condition of Brahma, no? And advised him to abandon his uh, lust infested body, because the mind, that mindset which created this type of thing, to abandon, and Brahma did so. That body rejected by Brahma appeared one female exquisite body with anklets producing a murmuring sound, with eyes heavy with inebriation, with silk draperies round her waist, held in position by a waistband. Bap re bap. Started. It's a creation. Actually, all these are what we are getting. Everything is mind born. Brahma created by his mind. No? We create our imagination. We live in our imagination. People in all the time, we are frightened, we are fear in our imagination, in our mind. Mind is the question. So it is Brahma's mind is appearing like that. O Vidura, the Asura were infatuated at the sight. Ah, now the Asuras have been created and gods have been created. Now the Asuras are being infatuated of this female figure, and they exclaim, "Wonderful is her beauty, wonderful her youth, and courage too. See how she walks unconcerned without any emotion amidst us who are moved by the passion." With many expectations, these evil minded asuras showed every form of courtesy to that Sandhya in human form, and said to her as follows, expressing their love for her. And then they said, "Oh, beautiful lady, who are you? Whose daughter are you? Why are you here?" etc. etc. "Oh, good lady, what is the good of asking about your antecedents? Whoever you are, maybe it is a rare piece of good fortune that we have met you," etc. Thus, the dull witted Asuras took possession of Sandha, taking her to be a woman of enticing beauty. Now, Gandhar was pity. So, next, with a smile of deep significance, Brahma created the Gandharvas and Apsaras. These are another categories of Gandharvas. Means Gandharvas are who? Gandharva in the heavenly abode, they sing the musicians club. No, that type of category of people. Gandharvas and Asuras, Apsaras. Apsaras are celestial dancers with beauty of narcissistic type. He then abandoned the body of his brilliant and pleasant like moonlight, Vishwa Vasu. Vishwavasu and other leading Gandharvas adopted that body. Brahma now created out of his lassitude demigods like Bhutas and Pisachas. Seeing them stark naked and disabled, he closed his eyes. That seat of lassitude which Brahma abandoned, characterized by yawning and sleep, was adopted by Bhutas and other demigods. So one he's creating one and getting frightened out of that and abandoning that one, that my mental thought, and that created one group of created entities. Sleep in the state of which the senses relax and the body fluids flow out uncontrolled. When men are thus pulled, they are subject to attacks of bhutas and pishachas. Bhutas and Pisachas are the terrifying figures, no? In the cremation ground with the mother Kali, they call Shiva Gana, Bhuta Gana Sange Nachiche. Shiva. Shiva dancing. Shiva is dancing with Bhutas. So he's talking about that category of Pisachas means very ferocious looking, ugly looking entities. Brahmapati. Brahma now created out of his lassitude demigods and bhutas and pisachas. From the seat of the lassitude which Brahma abandoned, characterized by yawning and sleep, adopted the bhutas and demigods. Sleep is the state in which sense the senses relax. In our sleep, our senses, all the eyes and all other organs relax, and bodily fluid flows out uncontrolled. When men are thus polluted, they are subject to the attacks of bhutas and pisachas. Such attacks go under the name nightmares. Assuming now an energetic mood, Brahma created the Shaddhas and the Pitris, forefathers. Shaddhas and Pitris means there are deities who, Shaddhas I do not know, but Pitris we know, forefathers we call, who have the visible forms. The Pitris and Saddhas adopted as body that mood of Brahma from which they were born. So those who perform rituals offer Habyo and Kabyo to the Saddhas and the Pitris respectively. He created the Siddhas, Vidyadharas by his power of invisibility. He gave them his body of his wit, the power of invisibility. So Siddhas and Vidyadharas, they are also musicians and chanters. So they were created in invisible. He gave them this body of his with the power of invisibility. He created the Kinnaras and Kimpurushas out of his own reflection, which he gazed on and admired. They took over the form of Brahma, now abandoned, so they came together and sang his glory in unison at the morning ceremonies. So Kinnaras and Kimpurushas, they are like in the morning time, they sing the glories. The kings, they have their morning time when they wake up. There are musicians who sing their glory of the king. So they're in that type of category. Those in early morning, they finding that even with all this creation was not progressing, Brahma felt worried. He lay down in anger, throwing out his hands and legs and gave up that body. From the scattered locks of that body of Brahma, snakes came out. So he became angry and threw, he was not satisfied with this, so many creations. Then when he was angrily throwing his arms here and there, and the hair, some hair came out, and all the snakes have been created. And from his outstretched limbs, cruel serpents and large hooves and great speed emerged. Now, when after all this, Brahma considered himself self-satisfied. Then he became peaceful. There emerged from his mind the manus capable of populating the world. So then ultimately he becomes satisfied, whatever happened, and then he created the manus. This manus, Brahma gave his own man-like body to the manus. All the prior creatures congratulated Brahma on having created the manus in the form of man. They said, O creator of the world, you have done well in creating the body of a man. In this body, which is capable of collecting all the materials for sacrifice, like Agnihotra, and of performing the sacrifices, we shall all reside and enjoy the parts of the sacrifices due to us. So they all, because the uh, ancient system is to do some jagna, no? Fire, oblation to the fire, as we call homo fire. So therefore, the only men who are learned, they can learn this Vedic wisdom and perform those jagnas. So it says that collecting all the materials for sacrifice like Agnihotra, performing the sacrifice, we shall all reside and enjoy the parts of the sacrifices due to us. The Brahma assumed a mood in which he was fully established in self control, austerity, spirituality, yoga, and samadhi. And in that mood, he created his most favorite creatures like the rishis, the sages. So it is all Brahma creating in different moods. All this creation from the negative forces to the positive forces, to the holy people, to the unholy people, to the performers of the sacrificial fire. To each of them, Brahma gave parts of their body, mood. What is the Brahma's mood? There is mental condition. We are all driven by our mind, no? So mental condition, which was constituted of samadhi, yoga, nobility, tapasya, worship and detachment. Now Vidura said, O great one, describe to us the famous line of Swayambhuva Manu, which, as distinguished from the earlier creations, has the characteristic feature of multiplication by sexual reproduction. How did Priyabrata and Utthanapada, the son of Swayambhuva Manu, rules this earth with its 7 islands, continents, observing the rules of dharma? You told us that one of the Swayambhuva's noble daughters became the wife of Kardama himself, a great yogi. How many issues did he beget in Devahuti, who was established in self control and other spiritual disciplines? O great one, how did Ruchi and Daksha, both sons of Brahma, proceed to multiply creation, having obtained as wives Manu's daughters Akuti and Prasuti? So now it came to the human multiplication. The human creation is the best creation because it is written by the human being. So they praise that human creation is the best creation, and in that creation, see, but the world is all blank. How to populate it? So it is Brahma's problem now. So he is now creating this with Swayambhuva Manu. There are different Manus in the period of ruling of one king. It can be called Manu. So he is talking how in his period this creation started. It is chapter now 21. Is there anything?
Only one question.
Only one question. So we have read enough. We can end here, no? Acha, let me finish this. Maitra said, being ordered by Brahma to engage himself in producing issues, the noble Kardama went to the bank of Saraswati and performed tapas for 10,000 years. But then the 10,000 time is relative, no? So always they in this Puranas you'll find 10,000 year, 100,000 year. He meditated for 10,000 year. No, we think that you do for 1 year, 2 year, but 10,000 year is synonym of that. So Maitra said, being ordered by Brahma to engage himself in producing issues, the noble Kardama went to the bank of Saraswati and performed tapas for 10,000 years. Having failed to realize the Lord by mere austerities, Kardama then took to the path of devotion, which is consisting of worship. So first, this Kardama, he wanted to reach God by meditation and austerities, but that didn't work. So failed to realize Lord by mere austerities, this Kardama then took to the path of devotion, consisting in worship, in singing the divine name, etc., accompanied by the practice of concentration. That is meditation and devotion. He started practicing instead of austerity and path of analysis, maybe. This generated in him an intense love for God, and he took refuge in Hari, who grants all desires of those who surrender to him. That means he went to the pleasing the Lord Krishna Narayana. So he started with devotion and prayer and taking the divine name and practices of concentration. And all these generated in him, the Kardama, an intense love for God. And he took refuge in the Lord Hari, Krishna, Narayana, who grants all desires. Being very much pleased with Kardama, Bhagavan, the Lord, the Supreme Being, revealed in the Vedas, showed himself to him in a form of glory, constituted of Satchidananda, suited to the age of Krita. Krita, that is the age of Krita. These are Manu, one of the Manus. So then Kardama saw the vision that Narayana appeared before him. Huh? So okay, so we end here. How Kardama saw Narayana, that will be next term. We can read that. So we are on page 236. We have read up to book 3, chapter 21, and we have started this verse number 9. Okay. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Why did Brahma start creating with ignorance? Yeah, that's a question. Creation means ignorance, no? Look at that. When we are in our full knowledge of ourselves, there is no creation, no? Mind is totally pure and it is God everywhere. So there is no question of any other to create anything, no desire to procure anything. So Brahma start creating with ignorance because ignorance is the cause of creation. Then many times we put this question, why this ignorance? Why this ignorance we cannot say. This is because of ignorance. As we give the example, we go to see the movie, and when you enter into the hall, there is light everywhere, and that time you cannot enjoy the movie. So to enjoy the movie fully, when you sit, take our seats, when we are chit-chatting, the movie, all the lights gradually go dim, dim, dim. Ignorance. And then there is a white screen and there is a projection. That projection falls on the projection screen and our attention goes there and creation starts. Now, what is happening on the screen? We think, is it real? It is all real. Why the tiger came in between, why this, and with the 3D, then you can feel more tangibly, more closely. But it is all happening in the air. There's no such reality at all. Is there any reality? It is a shadow of light and darkness, no? Play. So, similarly, ignorance is necessary for creation. When the broad daylight, you don't do anything, ignorance will not work. Therefore, why did Brahma start? Because that is the way we are also trapped into that. We are in ignorance, that's why we are in suffering. So, creation starts ignorance, or ignorance is the cause of being created. I am created, creator is there. The triputty, creator, creation, and creator. The three are because of our ignorance. So the ignorance, Brahma was in his full knowledge, wanted to be created, want to make the creation. So he has to take the help of darkness first, ignorance, anger, expectation. No? Anger comes from where? I want something and I don't get it. Obstacle. Then I'll be angry. So these are the negative forces first needed for creation. Otherwise, I am in my own self. Why shall I be angry with anyone? There is no one. I am the only self. I am full of bliss and joy. I don't need anything. But create a false need. We are all satisfied in ourselves. But because it is a cyclic action, so all the souls who are in dormant state, they remain. And as soon as the creation comes, they start from there. So ignorance is the cause of all this manifestation. So when you are in knowledge, we don't do mistake. We don't mistake a snake seeing a rope. We know daylight, light is there. No ignorance. The snake is snake, rope is rope. But when mistake, ignorance comes, then we always mistake. We mistake in our relationship. We mistake so much. Oh, you said that, you mean that, you did that, you did that. Why? It is the mental level, ignorance. Eh? And that's why we say when you talk to each other very clearly, even in our মানে any type of relationship, most of the confusion comes in mistaking, and that is the part of ignorance. So ignorance always creates that, and without ignorance, we know the Brahmagyanis are without ignorance. That's why they see and they are rejoicing everywhere. They see that Ma is Ramakrishna said, and Ma Viraj in Sarvagate, Mother resides in every heart. Mother is in the good, mother is in the bad. There is nothing but mother. So because knowledge is there, no ignorance. So ignorance, without ignorance, this play of duality will not happen. So Brahma also showed the path first, that he was in his own glory, fully conscious about Narayana, but he was ordered to create. So he saw his own reflection, all the shadow, and that ignorance, there came demand, there meant desire, to fulfill that desire. All mental creation, no? That is the creation means ignorance. And another question, approximately how many thousands of years were spent in mind? God only knows.
So that's why probably you say like that
10,000 years.
10,000, then maybe these all creation, concept and stories, they are your mental creation. So that's why they are giving 10,000 years, 12,000
And
years.
time is relative, no? Time is relative. Look at that. When we are in a happy mood, 2, 3 hours passed, and we think, oh, already it is 10 o'clock. Or it says, when I forget the time. And when it's a very on a troublesome period, say someone is very sick or is in excruciating pain, 1 minute appears to be 1 hour. No, that's a relative. So it is all mind, and that's why ignorance is in mind in time. That's why we read that big time is split into these referential times in which we live and we sleep and we eat, we do. So approximately, we cannot say it is infinite. Time is also in relative sense millions, billions, trillions, who knows, zillion years. And this is also our concept is there, Hindu concept of we do the offering to our forefathers every year according to Hindu system. Every year, the son offers oblation or offering to the grandfather, grand grandfather for them, some offering oblation. Sri Ramakrishna's father went to Gayadam to perform that ceremony. But it is done till you do that, every year you should offer them. That every year, if you give one, I give you something to eat today, and I give you another year, after another year, that one little food. How is that giving? You have to give feed every day. But it is called relative. Our 365 days of our time, human time, is equal to 1 day in the forefathers' plane. That's a relative. So in this way, the whole creation goes on. Another question, even if one decides to enjoy the pleasures of the world, scriptures have defined the proper and right way of doing it according to the tenets of Dharma, as in Dharma Artha Kama Moksha. But when the mind conjures up to ways to enjoy the world, bypassing all such laws, just because the desire to enjoy is so much, how to then regulate the mind? Regulation of the mind question comes when we feel unsatisfied, dissatisfied. Whatever mind wants, I want to give, no? If someone is trained to do and he has the ability to afford the money and environment, that I want this, you get it. Then what happens? Are you satisfied? You will not be satisfied there. So let us go on. First, that's why I started. That you enjoy the world in a whatever way, wrong way, right way. Even in wrong way, then you will be satisfied. One day we will understand. Wrong way, I am not happy. I wanted, but I did so many things but I am not satisfied. Then you follow the regulated way, honest way, sincere way. Then you will also find I followed the path, the regulated manner in following the scriptures, but where is my satisfaction? It is not. Then we go one step up to love God who is in all, and that gradually takes us to the perfect solution to our own home. So there is mind will learn. Mind is learning every day. Whether I know it or not, mind is learning every day. Unconsciously, it is learning. Reckless people are there, very organized and very disciplined people are there. Both are still to achieve the truth. But one experience leads to the other experience. And where the experience goes, it is in the mind. That's why sanskara. And we retain that sanskara. Even if we die, we continue that. So it is our experience does not go in waste, good or bad, whatever. And it is as a devotee we understand God brings all this for the good of us, for our growth and development. Though apparently sometimes it appears that it is not right, but it happens, right? So yes, so that's why it is said that Ramakrishna said, test, experience a little, and then teach mind every day. Hey, I tested it, I tested. Okay, done. And then fall in love with God. Uh, okay, so we are done now. So we'll be reading the Santi Gita class at 7:30. We'll be meeting again, and we end here now. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Panamastu. Sorry, I am not good at the stories of different stories, different names. This is called Bhagavat Katha. So in India, people who are experts in this, they can captivate thousands of people. In some gathering, thousands of people. With rapt attention, they listen. And they have many stories under the story under the story, no? And it's very interesting. And they're expert in expressing them in a nice way. So to know those, you have to have some expertise in that line. But I am not. But we always are simple because it confused me from my childhood. When I see this Asura born and this is born and this is getting married, that is getting fighting, and this is going, I say, my God, what is going on? I can't keep the link together. So I felt that Brahman is easy. Brahman is one. Atman is this. Very simple formula. Thank you.
এখানে এদিকটা
ওটাই করে অফ করে দাও ওটা এখানে আচ্ছা
ওটা বন্ধ করো